So I just watched this really good video by Pist Magnus, who was talking about how in the files the victims are like purposely named essentially and targeted, and then the perpetrators are protected. This is a very normal practice within patriarchy essentially. So it's designed for like men to protect each other, and the system to protect itself, and that's just time and time again that happens all the time. I haven't been a part of something like the files or that kind of stuff, but I have done whistleblowing for like men that have like harassed me and so on. Yeah, there was this project I was working on, and loads of women and femme people came out about the founder, who was also my like colleague essentially. In This was when I worked in psychedelics, and yeah, it was a long time ago where I worked with these folks. Anyway, me and 18 other people had testimonies against this guy. He's called Stephen Reed. And that's the thing, like, you are supposed to name perpetrators, you're supposed to name and shame them. How else are we going to know who they are and what they've done, right? That is the price of harming other people and like subjugating people to violence and oppression. But there's this like sensitivity of like men or like whoever the perpetrator is or whoever's causing harm being exposed, being named, being actually like highlighted doing what they're doing. Yeah, so he responded by publicly naming people that were involved in the testimonials, which he wasn't supposed to do. Yeah, that's a way to try and target the people that are speaking out as well and exposing them. And when you have the patriarchal norms as well of like shame around being a victim and being a survivor, that doesn't help. And again, that is like purposeful within patriarchy to like solidify silence and solidify compliance and so on, with violence and oppression. It's totally normal. The amount of times that men are taught to protect each other. That's the whole point, and the system and when I say men, I mean the institution of men and the institution of patriarchy, right? So you can see that in your day-to-day like activities, essentially. So yeah, if I talk to my mum about like sexism in my partnership with my partner, for example, which happens, which I should talk about and I should be able to, and it shouldn't be a problem that I'm talking about oppression within my relationship, which happens in any relationship where there's a power dynamic, and you should talk about it and you should highlight harm, and especially like in a community sense, so that you can get help and support if it's not changing because it's like harming you, right? Because sexism damages your brain and is oppressive. So it shouldn't be happening, or at least it should be as reduced as possible. She'll just immediately like start defending him, even though it's harming me. Like, what should be prioritized in that situation is me, because I'm being harmed, okay, by someone. Okay, but it's always the man that's defended, and it's almost like behaving as if the women or femme persons deserve the harm and deserve what they get. And that is also, again, within patriarchal culture, that we deserve to be harmed, and especially like stereotypically pretty, there's like almost like a glee with them like failing and being harmed within like patriarchal culture. So like it's like so many times, from like really big issues to really small issues, like my feelings and my hurt is like past ignored and like not seen as important, but actually the harmer, often a man in the situation, is defended and prioritized, and that is illustrative of how differently we are valued as people, and that's sexist and obviously and patriarchal. So, but it's like completely normal and happens in so many different ways. Yeah, it's really harmful and really difficult, especially in a community setting, because so many times a community will come out in support of harmful men of varying degrees, of varying things, or harmful behavior. And that's the system working perfectly. So yeah. And then the woman or the femme person is unsupported, demonized, like devalued, framed as lying, all sorts, to disrespect and discredit them. you've got loads of things stacked against you as a survivor. That's why it was part of why it's so hard to come out, because the whole system and the whole practices and the whole cultural practices are all designed to help the predators, because we have a grape culture and we have patriarchy and we blah, 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 blah. So like, it's completely normal, unfortunately. And that's why we need to create systems that protect survivors and protect vulnerable people, and like systems where we push against this inequality and these systems that do this. Yeah, and it reminds me of like in this whistleblowing group, there was this like assigned male at birth person in the group. And like when we actually released the testimonials, like they totally cracked and they basically started to protect the men and like go on the other side. And it was because they were really surprised about the social backlash that we got. And I'm just like, dude, this is literally what happens. This is literally the normal part of being a whistleblower and fighting against the system and telling the truth, is that you get a massive social backlash because everyone is trained to protect the men in this situation. So like people were like, oh, poor Stephen, and like, oh, but Stephen's autistic, as if autism is an excuse to like harass and sexually harass women. And then they even created a statement that was doubting. There was like descriptions of our grape in these testimonies, because this person was abusing their power to use to sleep with women, and that's why he was after me as well, and why he punished me when I got a boyfriend, because I didn't sleep with him. yeah, he like demoted me in the organization that we worked in. Yeah, nuts. Like he like drops people once he uses them, like in various ways, and then moves on, and then goes to like a new young femme groups who don't know the context. And we did. The thing is, loads of people did loads of things in advance, right? They spoke to this guy. I spoke to him. I was like the diversity like consultant, so I was like, dude, like you need to sort this out. This is all really. I didn't know about all the testimonies, but I knew about his behavior towards me, and also about he had more like day-to-day oppressive tendencies that I was like highlighting all the time. Yeah. And it's just normal for whistleblowers to have everything stacked against them. That's why we need to create social structures to protect them. Do you know what I mean? Like we need to actively protect whistleblowers. I don't know how to summarize what I'm trying to summarize. Yeah. It's so frustrating. And it's so like, I remember like we spoke to this Stephen about the issues multiple times over a number of years. Then there was like within the group of people, there was like, because it kept happening, like lots of forms of harm. So like a different group came out and were like, you know, this really messed me up, your behavior. Again, lots of men just defending him, not listening to survivors, not prioritizing it. The reason being is because a lot of those guys worked with him and had privileges attached to working with him and got money because he was clever and he like did lots of like fancy computer stuff, and he worked for the Greens and he worked for like tech people and blah, 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 blah. So like he had a lot of power, and like me and him co-created the Psychedelic Society, and something that he's kind of taken away from me since, essentially, because it went for me when I got a boyfriend. Like he did weird stuff, like when I kissed him on the cheek, he like turned so it was his lips like one time, and yeah, he was like creepy man. He was a very creepy man. And there's lots of stuff that happened anyway. But I'm just like, but that's just normal. That's just what happens. You will get most people will be against you if you're a whistleblower. Most people will attack you. Most people will go for you because they are trained by the system as well. And the system has told them to protect abusive people. And that the people that are speaking out about it are the problem. That they're the ones that like need to be silenced, essentially. But it's so heartbreaking because a lot of those people were my friends. You know, a lot of those guys were my friends. And they were just silent in terms of supporting me, defending this guy that they had no context over, apart from we explained the stories, but that's fine apparently. And they made this letter that was like, we don't really believe that was RAPE for like someone who reported that. And then the guy that was in the group like basically betrayed us and went to the other side. And it's just outrageous. It's just like, oh my god, you're so unprepared. You so like of course people are gonna like make us feel like we're doing the wrong thing. That's just part of it. That's just part of the pattern. Yeah, so what a horrible traitor. And it shows again, like he was socialized as a man. So like, they were socialized as a man. That just shows you that that alliance is very strong. Yeah, and it shouldn't be. It's not in men's interest, okay, to protect each other about ABUSE, okay? That's not good for you or for anyone or for the men involved. And like, and when I just say it's not just men, but it is definitely within male culture, like masculinity culture that we teach. It's generally also like women will also support ABUS E, and yeah, it was really difficult to see. It was really heartbreaking. And I remember they actually met the Stephen at a SEX party, which we contacted the SEX party and we were like, no, you shouldn't be allowing this guy who's accused of multiple things like into a SEX party. Anyway, and they were just basically obviously just like exchange information that was not to be exchanged and like fell for whatever Stephen said about, I don't know, who knows how. In fact, Stephen offered me like £500 and something else, I can't remember what it was, because he like realized that he did bad and stuff. So it could have even been like a monetary transaction. Also, he underpaid me a lot anyway. And yeah, and I just think people just need to be ready that if they're going to go for something like telling the truth, you got to be ready for like a lot of crap, especially from like most people. Yep, it's pretty bad. And like also, yeah, like I said, we need to create the structures to protect people that are whistleblowers, because everything is piled against them at the moment, and they literally get KILLED all the time, including by our own government. Like, we need to think of ways of doing the opposite of that, obviously. So like, yeah, it is a way to scare the survivors and to make people feel like they can't come out and say things, and it's outrageous, and it's just not okay. So yeah, people doing harm don't want people to know that they're doing harm, and they want to be anonymous, and they want to be able to keep doing it and like keep taking advantage of their privilege. And naming and shaming them, and obviously prosecuting them is interrupting all that. So yeah, but I just want to also highlight, like, this is after 18 testimonies, okay? Like, none of those people that defended him spoke to us, like supported us, heard our side of the story. They just defended him automatically, even though that's like 18 people saying stuff about this guy, but they just protected him because he's a guy who they have privileges with. It's so unbelievably enraging. And it also illustrates how people don't care. They don't care about people that have survived a lot of the time. They care more about social capital. And it's been like that for a long, long time. And I'm laughing, but it's really messed up. I'm laughing because it's just messed up. Gotta go work now, but just remember, support your local whistleblower. And if a marginalised person is talking about oppression, listen to them, support them, believe them. Try not to prioritise the person that's hurting them. Okay.